just $5 per month. That's less than one copy of a magazine, only $1.25 per week. Go to www.patreon.com/InPitLane and support independent Australian media. Enjoy the show. Everybody, and welcome to another edition of In Pit Lane. Yes, it's the Tuesday after Sandown. It doesn't exactly scan, but it's Tuesday after Sandown. And joining us was somebody who was at Sandown on the weekend racing in the Touring Car Masters. You may remember her, of course, from her days in the Castrol Cougars, and of course a lot of other production car racing and all sorts of things. Raced at the Nurburgring with Sir Jack Brabham, if you don't mind, umpire. Also a special guest. In fact, let's introduce them right now. First of all, Melinda Price. Welcome to In Pit Lane.
Thank you. Good to be back.
And yes, it's been a while, and somebody who wasn't around when the last time you were on the program is Lily, and Lily is here. Lily is my co-host for the for today, so she can ask Mum any questions that she likes. You have absolute free reign at the moment, Lily. How are you?
Good.
That's good. Well, welcome to the program, and we'll speak to you later. Lily is in for moral support for Melinda, and also, do you know how expensive childcare is these days? It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, coming up, a little bit later on, we've got something, our live music at the end of the program. Fate the Rapper. Yes, stay tuned. Now, you are going. No, trust me. No, you are going to like it. Yes, I thought that too. But no, you are going to like it, really. It's really good stuff. That's coming up a bit later on the program. But right now, let's see what happened, not just locally, but internationally. This is what we call the In Pit Lane Motorsport News. Cam Waters and Richie Stanaway have led home a Ford 1-2-3 at the Sandown 500, the opening round of the Pertec Endurance Championship. The Monster Energy Falcon started from pole position and held off the late challenge of series leader Scott McLaughlin and his co-driver Alex Premer to take the pair's first ever Supercars victory. The Super Cheap Autos Falcon of Chaz Mostert and Steve Owen finished third after a late race puncher ended a tough weekend for Shane Van Gisbergen and Matt Campbell. The pair had started 21st on the grid and stormed through the pack to take third place, but the tyre failure on the Red Bull Commodore ended their podium chance and relegated the pair to 16th place. First of the Holdens home was the Gary Rogers Motorsport car of Garth Tander and James Golding, who drove a steady race and again showed just how good this team can be in the longer races. Jamie Whincup and Paul Dumbrell were out of contention early after a rear left tyre failed with Dumbrell at the wheel. The pair recovered to take out 6th place. Once again, the race was red flagged after the Commodore of Taz Douglas hit the magnetic Turn 6 wall, which the previous day had spectacularly claimed both Todd Hazelwood and TCM Tirana driver Jason Gomersell. The repairs to the battered wall took almost an hour and has seen several drivers call for changes to the race schedule to try and ensure a full 500-kilometre race next year. McLaughlin's second place has seen him stretch his lead in the Supercars Championship to 84 points over Whincup as the teams focus their energy on the season's biggest event, Bathurst. Jeff Emery is the 2017 Australian GT champion after last weekend's races at Sandown. The Audi driver only needed a 5th place in the final race of the weekend after his main rival Liam Talbot spun out of contention in Saturday's second race. Emery set up the title win with a victory in race 1. Tony Quinn returned to the top step of the podium after a win in race 2, with Fraser Ross making it 2 wins for McLaren with victory in the final race. An opening lap crash that took out 3 of the main competitors has seen Lewis Hamilton cruise to an all-the-way win in the Singapore Grand Prix. With a wet track for the first time under lights, there was bound to be some chaos, but nobody expected it to be at the front of the field. The Ferraris of Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen were both out of the race by turn 1, along with Max Verstappen's Red Bull and the McLaren of Fernando Alonso, who was punished for his great race start by almost rolling after being hit by Verstappen. After an extended safety car period, Hamilton once again stormed away and was pretty much in total control from that point on. Daniel Ricciardo finished a strong second, despite a problem with his gearbox, doing enough to hold out Valtteri Bottas, who seemed to struggle in the conditions. With no points for his main rival, Hamilton's now pulled out a handy 28 points lead as the teams now head to Malaysia for the next round. Porsche have continued their World Endurance Championship farewell tour with another victory, this time at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. New Zealand pair Earl Bamber and Brendan Hartley, along with Timo Bernhardt, led home Nick Tandy, Andre Lotterer and Neil Jani in a Porsche 1-2. Toyota were more competitive this time out, but faded towards the end of the 6-hour-long race. Reigning LMP2 champion Signatech Alpine followed up their Mexican City podium with victory at COTA. For Nicolas Lapierre and Gustavo Menez, it was their second victory in Texas in as many years. Ferrari won in GTE Pro with Alessandro Pierguidi and James Collado taking their second victory of the season. While it was a win for Aston Martin and the team of Paul Dell'Alana, Pedro Lamy and Matthias Lauda in GTE AM. Regular season championship winner Martin Truex Jr. has got his NASCAR championship chase off to a flying start with a win at the Chicago Speedway last weekend. Truex Jr. took the lead in the third stage of the Monster Energy Cup race and was never challenged, winning the Tales of the Turtles 400. Yes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sponsored a NASCAR race. Suppose their money's as good as anybody's. Chase Elliott was second with Kevin Harvick third in a race that lacked the usual NASCAR chaos. In NHRA drag racing, Doug Collitter has returned to the winner's circle after defeating Australian Richie Crampton at the Carolina Nationals at Z-Max Dragway. Robert Hike won in funny car with a win over Courtney Force. Pro Stock saw a win to Tanner Gray over Greg Anderson, and Eddie Croy continued his domination of Pro Stock bike. And Joseph Newgarden is the 2017 Verizon IndyCar champion after a second-place finish at last week's final round at Sonoma. Newgarden was runner-up to Penske teammate Simon Pagenaud in a Penske 1-2-3. Australia's Will Power was third.
So proud of these guys. It's just, I don't even know what to say. It was all year. Took a lot to make this happen. You know, thank you to my teammates. They were giving me a lot of help today and making sure that we got this done. And it's a huge team effort at Team Penske.
Want to know more about In Pit Lane? Well, you can support us via Patreon. Go to patreon.com/In Pit Lane. Remember to subscribe and like our YouTube channel. Check out the In Pit Lane website for lots of live streaming and all the latest news. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, email us at theshow@inpitlane.com, and to find out more about effective and affordable advertising for your company or products, email us at advertise@inpitlane.com. In Pit Lane, 21 years, and they haven't killed us yet. Welcome back to In Pit Lane on Camera 1. Yes, well, it was a big weekend out at Sandown, and somebody who was there firsthand, because God knows that I can't afford to go there, is our guest tonight. Not only was she there and watching, but she was there competing as well in the Touring Car Masters. And Melinda Price, let's talk about Touring Car Masters, driving an XA Falcon. How did that all happen?
Well, I just started racing again back in historics and doing a few races here and there, and sort of slowly ended up getting the bug again. And I'd bumped into John Bower a few times at various historic meetings, and he was telling me how good Touring Car Masters are. And I went out and watched one weekend, and just great guys, great competitors, fantastic racing and lovely old cars. And I figure second time around with my vintage, I'm perhaps a little bit more suited to Touring Car Masters, and it's fantastic driving those cars. Lots of horsepower, lots of fun.
Well, what sort of horsepower are you putting out? I mean, pretty high horsepower or something like that.
Well in the 600s, yeah.
Yes, there. So what was it like? Conditions were very tricky, especially on the Saturday. We saw Jason Gomersel in the A9 Exterrana. He went in at turn 6. What were conditions like, and how did you handle it?
Friday was a horrible day. Just rain, Yeah, rain all day, and I had some brake issues, so roaring down the back straight in qualifying and put the brake pedal on and it went straight to the floor. So that was a bit hectic in the pouring rain, but somehow managed to sort of change down through the gears and survive. The weather improved throughout the weekend, but unfortunately my luck didn't. And there was a bit of action, of course, not the type that we like to see, but only one lap in the race on Saturday, but a good sunny race on Sunday.
So what do you think is the attraction of Touring Car Masters?
I just think it's a really, obviously the guys are great, and there's Jim Richards, John Bowe, Glenn Seaton, lots of old fantastic drivers from touring car days and guys that I was racing with 20 years ago in touring cars. But the cars are fantastic as well, and anybody sort of from that era as well. Then there's a whole range of different cars and they're all so different in so many ways, but really equal on the track. And the racing is just always fantastic to watch as well.
And what does Lily do? Lily's very keen. When you're out on the track, Lily, what do you get? Do you get worried when you see Mum out on the track?
No, because...
Do you get worried or do you like watching?
I like watching.
That's good. That's good. Now you mentioned the historics, because as you say, you were away for a long time. We'll get onto that a bit later. But
yep.
We sort of bumped into each other. We hadn't seen you for years, and as you say, the historics, you turn up and you're racing a little. I think it's a Formula Junior, is it?
Yeah, Lotus 22.
Yeah. Beautiful little car. We got historics. How did that all happen?
Well, the car belongs to Kim Shern, who's a good family friend of ours, and I'd, stopped racing for a little while and been living interstate, and then when Lily was born and obviously had some health issues and things and moved back to Melbourne and didn't have, my licence had well and truly expired, and Kim had been running the Lotus and my dad's his mechanic. So they'd been all overseas running around and racing around Australia, and Kim had gone over to Europe. And Dad came home one day and he said, "Oh, Kim's gone away for 6 months. He said that we can use the Lotus while he's gone." And I looked at him and I said, "What, do you mean me drive it?" And he said, "Yeah." So I slept on that and woke up the next morning, obviously with that going through my head all night, and said, "Yeah, well, maybe we should go to Winton and have a test day and see how it all goes." And I guess the rest is history, yeah.
How much fun is it to drive that sort of car?
It's
so totally different to anything you've driven before, surely.
Yeah. Well, I never did open wheelers, sort of, which was the normal progression from karting, sort of went straight into production cars. It's fantastic. It's probably some of the best fun I've had since go-karting. Yeah.
I mentioned before, we go back, to the Castrol Cougars days, but I also mentioned the Nurburgring. You have raced at the Nurburgring, and you raced with a legend of the sport.
Yeah, it was quite amazing. I've been lucky enough to do a couple of 24-hour races there. And one year, yes, went back for the 6-hour race, which is about 6 weeks after the 24-hour, and drove with Sir Jack Brabham and Ross Palmer. So that was, quite amazing. Even just to be in a race with somebody like that, but, to have...
And that would be one of Sir Jack's last ever sort of compete. He did a bit of historic racing and a few special appearances, but that would be one of his last ever sort of real races, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it was certainly towards the end of his sort of competitive racing, yeah. So it was quite, it's amazing just to be... in a room with somebody like that, or listen to them speak, but to sort of have a whole weekend and be sharing a car and stuff. And he did actually take me for a lap in the Beetle, which was really exciting, and sort of worked up. I was trying to be cool in the car and just sit there and thinking, this is Jack Brabham, he knows the Nurburgring as well as anybody. And he kept sort of, doing a few hairy things, and I was trying, I'll be cool, I won't hold on and everything. And all of a sudden he's gone flying off the track, and we were uphill. So, and I was quite new to the Nurburgring, there's obviously, 130 odd corners, so I didn't know the whole track, but he knew it completely. And so we've gone over a hill, and I'm like, run, and grabbed on, and we've popped out straight onto the track on the other side. So he knew exactly where we were going. And he looked over and he was laughing his head off. And he said to me, "It's not very often these days I get to make a young girl squeal." So,
I can imagine that, yes.
Yeah, so fantastic. I'll never forget that.
He did have that wicked sense of humour.
Yes,
a number of
definitely.
occasions that we were lucky enough to interview Sir Jack over many. Yes, he did have there was was often a twinkle in the eye and a lot of in-jokes that some people didn't quite understand, but the ones who did, it was worth it.
No,
Great,
it was
a fabulous guy. You mentioned about taking a break from racing. The Castrol Cougars thing, in hindsight, looking back at, I suppose that was trying to do way back then what Nissan and Supercars are trying to do now with Simona Di Silvestro and last year with Renee Gracie with her as well. In hindsight, what do you think of, how did that all go?
Yeah, look, it was obviously a fantastic couple of years for us. I think things were, you know, we were very, very well received. I mean, I remember when we were at Bathurst for the first time in '97, I think every woman and every child that was in the pits walked past and you know, was so excited to see a couple of girls on the grid. And things were a little bit different back then. Obviously, there was privateers and stuff, and we were a level 3 privateer. And you know, now the last couple of years with the two girls running again, you know, all the cars are on par, so I think the expectation and stuff like that is a lot higher. But I think also the demographics of racing in general, you know, there's a lot more women coming through, young girls racing go-karts and other categories as well. There's a lot more females, I think, watching on TV and out at the racetrack, and kids as well. So I think these days is a pretty good time to be a woman in motor racing. What
do you think, Lily? Is that in your future, or do you want to be a tennis player?
Going to be a racing car driver?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I think you've got plenty of time to decide, I think.
She's been go-karting a few times.
Oh, so the bug has already hit, has it? So how old are you, Lily? If you don't mind me asking. I know it's a very rude question, but I'm a very rude person.
6.
6. I have shoes older than you. But can you believe it? You know, this Mum was on this program 20 years ago. Can you believe that 20 years ago? Can you understand how long 20 years ago was? Believe it or not, we were both 20 years younger. It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with your with the being a mum now and all the rest of it, I mean, does that change the focus? Because I know I spoke with years ago with Glenn Seaton, actually, after he had, and now his son's racing, but he's only just been born. He did say at the time, he said it does change your focus a little bit. It's like, it's not all about me anymore. It's you've got someone to look after. Yeah,
I wasn't sure how it was going to affect me in terms of, you know, am I going to be worried? You know, you have responsibilities and things like that, and I guess you're not so young and invincible and stuff like you are when you get your first racing car and you want to take over the world and be the next Ayrton Senna or something like that. And how is that going to affect you? You know, will you be going for an overtaking move and think, oh, I better do that, better not do that? That could be dangerous. But it's not. I think once the helmet goes on again, you're out there and you're just doing your thing, and none of those things go through my mind. But I guess off the track, you know, it's not your whole life, and there's plenty of other wonderful things going on as well. So it's just a part of it.
You've probably got a whole new focus on life now, because, you know, after we sort of last saw you in the Castrol Cougars, the next thing we heard about you is that well, one, that you were going to have Lily here, but also it was very much, you know, good news, bad news, because that was about the time we found out that you had breast cancer.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about that scenario in terms of at what point during the pregnancy did you find out that was happening?
So I was about 8 months pregnant when I felt a lump there, and by the time I went through the various tests and ultrasounds and biopsies and whatever, and the results came back, the doctor said, I went there to see the doctor, and they rang back and said, you know, make sure you don't come by yourself. So I was pretty sure that the news wasn't...
That's not a good sign, is it?
No. Look, I think I knew deep down, but so they sat down and the doctor said, well, you know, the results have come back and you've got breast cancer. So go home for a few hours and just process everything, and then pack your bags and come to the hospital, and we're going to induce the baby tonight so that we can operate on you. So it was sort of the worst day and the best day of my life all in the same day. But Lily was born the next day and everything went well there, and then I had my first surgery 7 days after she was born, and everything started from there. Surgery, then surgery again, and chemo and radiation. And
so how long did that whole process take?
Finished most of my treatment by the end of 2012. I started at about the middle of 2011. Lily was born in April. But still hormone treatment and other things. And then even as recent as a couple of years ago, I had some more surgery, and there's some other bits and pieces. So there's always stuff going on. But look, I think in one way it was a good timing as well, because I didn't have time to sit there and get down in the dumps or depressed or anything like that, because I had this beautiful little baby that I'd always wanted to sit there and put a smile on my face every day.
I suppose that Lily was too young, obviously, to understand it. I mean, how much do you know about the story now? I mean, do you realise sort of the incredible battle Mum's put up and how brave she is?
You've seen some photos when Mummy had no hair when you were a baby, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's sort of nice for me to think that all that's happened and she was too young to remember, and we just get on with things now. But yeah, we have a few photos that pop up every now and then.
So on your car as well, we see the pink ladies. I mean, that's something that's come up. I mean, the treatment has come along in leaps and bounds, and also because you would have had a pretty good understanding as well as to what you were actually going through, because you had qualifications in immunology, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So probably the doctor's worst nightmare, the kind of person that comes in and wants to know everything about everything and ask a million questions. But I think at the time as well, you're so overwhelmed with information and stuff like that you're meeting so many different people and so many things that really you walk out of there and you've got no idea. Your head's just spinning, and I think it doesn't really sink in. And not even for me, but perhaps for people that don't have more of a medical background as well, it's it's a pretty hectic time.
The interesting thing is, the last time I heard, you were now studying in sort of more natural therapies.
Yes, to be a naturopath.
Yes. A naturopath. So how did that was that as a result of what you went through? Did that help you through the journey?
Yeah, well, I think when you get a diagnosis like that, there's so much that's out of your control. That one of the things, that all you want to know is, what can I do? Because you obviously want to do everything you can for yourself to stay alive. So it's, what can I do? And, in my opinion, there wasn't enough, focus placed on diet and lifestyle and being healthy and stuff like that. And that's what you can do. And I believe sort of moving forward in terms of not wanting to have a recurrence or anything like that, it's really, really important. So that headed me off down that path, and it's been a really good balance to have the medical background as well. I think now I've got 1 foot firmly planted on both sides of the fence.
Mm-hmm. Back to the car racing for a moment. What are the plans? Do you have any long-term plans now? Continuing just with the touring car masters, or have you got other things in mind?
Well, I'm looking forward. We have obviously had some issues on the weekend and a bit of work to do on the car, but moving forward, we've got that all under control, and very much looking forward to going back to Bathurst in 2.5 weeks. But look, I love TCM. I love the category. I love the people. And I really enjoy that. So I guess in a perfect world, I'd like to continue on and hope to do a full season next year and maybe end up with my own car one day. And hopefully a few races in the Lotus will come my way as well. And
what's the situation with the Bentley? We heard at the start of the year that you and John Bowe were getting behind the wheel of the Bentley. I've seen the Bentley, and so did Gary Rogers Motorsport, but at one stage. But
I've seen it as well.
Yes, so it is there. We know it exists. Any word as when you might get behind the wheel of it, or
I don't think that's still a plan at the moment. I mean, it was there, and it was certainly. I'd been driving around, happy driving the Lotus a few times a year, and sort of that was where I was at when, and then the Bentley thing was presented to me, and I was like, oh my God, can this really be happening? And although it didn't happen, and I unfortunately never even got to drive the car, the good thing that came out of it was it got me really excited just at the possibility that it might happen. I was off training like a 25-year-old at the gym and stuff like that, thinking, oh my God, I better get ready, you know, for this. And so I got all enthusiastic and keen, and at the end, when it became apparent that it wasn't going to work, I was all fired up with nowhere to go. And I guess it had ignited that spark in me again to kind of go out there and chase it. And so I had a run in the Mark car in February at Sandown, and just loved that. And now I'm, you know, completely addicted again and thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do. Might we
see you at Bathurst again in February, perhaps, for the 12-hour?
Well, I would love that.
So there you are. So we're putting it out there right now. If anybody's got a 12-hour drive from Melinda, you know, contact us here at In Pit Lane. We'll be very good. We're very decent brokers. We won't take too much of a slice. But yeah, let us know, and I'm sure we'd love to see you up there. Lily, hopefully we'll see you behind the wheel. Who knows if we're around for another 20? No, we won't. No, I won't be around for. The show might be around for another 21 years. I won't be, but either way, I hope you go very well at school. What school do you go to?
Edithvale.
Edithvale. I know Edithvale very well. It's a lovely place down Edithvale, down by the beach. Lovely. Now, so Lily, thank you for bringing Mum in, and thank you for joining us on In Pit Lane. Melinda, best of luck for the future, and once again, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane. We won't make it 20 years next time. We'll have you on hopefully a lot sooner.
Lovely. Thanks, Brad.
Okay, and thank you to all of you at home who are watching. We've got people watching at home. We've got some messages there. Yes, Melissa has said hello. It's from so Melissa, welcome back. So people are glad to see you back. We'll be glad to see you back next week on the program as well. But right now we're going to take you out with some music of a bit of a different style, because right now we've got Fate the Rapper coming on, and Fate the Rapper is around playing around Melbourne, and also he's on Facebook, and we'll give you all those details later, and we'll also put up some of his other work on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. But right now, Fate the Rapper is going to take us out, and until next week on the program, from all of us here, it's good night. Here's Fate the Rapper.
Yo, what's going on, Melbourne? It's Fate the Rapper here. Shouts out to In Pit Lane for having me on tonight. Shout out to Team Fate. Love you guys. Let's do it, Melbourne.
Dancing on the beat.
Yo, let's do this. Save me from my dreams, I'm trying to look both ways. Leading it straight, this is another scene. Been breathing since I hit my teens. Can you hear this? Can you feel this, please? Cause I can feel it, God, I'm on my knees. Please understand my mind state is not a safe place. Seen it shrink weekly, but I'm not okay. Getting sober by the day. Hey, this is the only thing that keeps me staying. Feeling like a drug addict in a separate place. But I've been clean for 12 months and still hard to goddamn stay. So I'll rap, okay? I'll make rhymes, I say. My music is a different continental mind space. I'm out of space, 10,000 light years away from a dream that I'm withholding. A passion, some I say, I can't do this bit. It's breaking me to bits next. Tell them what the chorus say. Such a wreck thing to find. I'm so sorry that I'm not even close to human emotion, because my human growth is messed up in time. But I still remember the time when life was alright. Wasn't fighting these demons, now I battle every night. I cannot do it much longer. Music's what keeps me alive. Life's being dark, I've had a damn lot to say. But if I ever change, take me back to the day when mom's hugs was the safest place. And sitting on Nan's knee but like a rocket to space. And Dad and I, we were just okay. And I never was impressed, so these lyrics I never had to lay. But time to change, I don't want to grow up. It's too much responsibility for 6-year-olds, show this. Tell me you find it free, this is sad to see. You'd even lie to me. Melbourne. Shout out Team Fate. Shout out to Impit Land again for having me on tonight. It's been great. Thanks, guys.